confess that was something Jeff Brabham and I did talk about in the race one, which you would be aware of, but we said there's quite a few drivers in this class that have been there for a while, and it may be a class that you come out of Formula Ford, step back into these cars and get the experience of a faster sort of car before heading off to Europe. All right, we'll wait for the grid to come up. We're still waiting for the green flag. Do you agree with that?
I do indeed. I think that we do need a formula to go up to from Formula Ford. We need a formula that's on slick tyres and has wings, because they do need to go up, you know, one step maybe from Formula Ford before they head off overseas if they want to pursue an open-wheeler career.
Well, setting now for a start. You can see, wait for the green flag at the rear of the grid. And away we go. Stokell gets away nicely. Webber, remember, he charged off the line before. He's done it again, changing line again. We'll sort him out after the first couple of corners. Going to get hairy here. Stokell and Webber, they're one and through as they come through at the moment. Everybody seems to get through. Oh, no, they don't. Well, this first corner, it is a bit of a trap. By G, you've only got half a touch and you're gone. Yeah, well, and that was Jim Gleeson.
He started to lose that about 300 yards before he actually had the spin.
Or Alan Galloway, I think it might have been. There's another one off. That's not Stokell, is it? He's gone off. Well, that's in exactly the same spot we lost him before. So Mark Webber now takes the lead.
One thing in their defence, I mean, they probably don't enjoy the tyre warmers and so forth as the Formula One blokes do. So these slick tyres would still have, they'd be pretty cold, and therefore they would be a bit slippery, that's for sure.
Here it is, AJ, have a look.
Yeah, we'll see, he's just given it the welly, and then he's had a bit of a correction and another correction, and then she's all got a bit hard for him.
Alan Galloway takes off onto the grass. Now, that was the first of the incidents as he hits the grass now, spins out of the way, which was good fortune, because plenty of cars were still coming through at that stage. Mark Webber, now we're back live. He's out in front. Yellow Page's car doing a terrific job. He can only do what he can do, drive. More dust being kicked up around this circuit. So, wow, we're certainly seeing some dramatic action. Mechanical problem for Stokell. I'm not sure what happened. We only really saw him roll up on the infield. It could have been a mechanical problem.
I think it was, but I don't think he didn't have a spin. He literally just pulled off. So that's a great shame, because once again we've been robbed probably of a dice from the two quickest men.
So Adam Kaplan, now you saw him in car 7, and car 21 is Steve Cramp. Well, Steve Cramp's had a fair day, because he got a run through and got on the podium in the first race. Now he sits in second place here. Kaplan keeping the pressure on him. It's Adam Kaplan. 21 is Steve Cramp in that beautifully turned out red, white and blue car. The Just Jeans car does look good too. They are a good-looking little thing, these, aren't they?
They are. Well, I mean, basically, they're ex-Formula 3000s from Europe, but in my opinion, they need to sound better. I mean, they sound very flat. I would like to see them with a better exhaust system and give them a bit of a howl, you know, which would make them, you know, just sound that much better.
Through a pretty tricky part of the circuit here. Now, a lot of the Formula One cars, a lot of the tourists got involved with that blue area there that we've called it since starting, because it's got the blue gravel spread out. That's a pretty tricky part of the track.
It is. It's quite a tight right-hander, and it's very easily to get sucked into it, and then it tightens up on itself, and then it goes left. So it's very easy to run wide and put the two left wheels up in that blue stuff for sure.
So starting to string out a little bit now, which is predictable, because Stokell, as you know, has been so fast. Webber is doing a pretty good job out in front. It's still Cramp, Kaplan and Weeks. Good dice going on here.
Well, there's a reasonable dice for second and a reasonable dice for third, because they do have a tendency to get a bit processional, but let's hope we see some overtaking moves shortly.
Well, they get processional on a lot of the tracks here, because, as you've said so many times before, it's very difficult for them to pass. But here, I know that you've been saying it for most of the weekend now, this is good because there are so many places you can have a go here.
Oh, there are. There's, you know, at least 6 places where you can dart out and have a go under brakes, which is terrific.
So looking down that long straight, as you see the cars come onto the track there, Kevin Weeks sitting there in car number 70, and just off the pace slightly, but doing a pretty good job. Nicely turned out. I've got to say that I did go down into the garage area yesterday, and there was a lot of work going on the cars, a big field of cars here, which is healthy. and they are beautifully turned out. There was a lot of work going on with them. The class did get a little bit ratty a few years ago, but it's come back nicely.
Well, there's certainly a good field here, that's for sure. They're very well represented.
All right, we'll take a break. Come back to Albert Park. You're looking at the Formula Holdens. Nice to be at your place. We won't be away too long. Park Formula Holdens, you're looking at Mark Webber. He's leading this race here. Only 2 laps remain of the second of the encounters of the Formula Holdens here today, and Mark Webber can do no more in the Yellow Pages car. He's really dominated this race. He's done a great job. He's come out of the ranks of Formula Ford after some pretty spectacular driving there and starting to establish himself as one of the rising stars of Australian motorsport. Fastest lap, he's also done that at a 1:54 and a few tenths. So here's the big dice on behind here. That looks like Steve Cramp. That is Steve Cramp, and he's got plenty of pressure coming up because Jason Bright's come back onto the circuit, couldn't start, and actually started the race out of pit lane. So he's absolutely terrorising the field, trying to make up something like 2 laps.
Yeah, well, that's right. He's 2 laps down. Oh, went a bit deep there. Off she goes. You can see that happening. Just locked up the fronts, lost his steering, and then went straight ahead. Chris Coombs into the kitty litter. But I tell you, Jason Bright is lit up. He'd be after a fastest lap or something. You can't possibly catch him. Well, that's exactly right. I mean, he's done the right thing. He started from pit lane. He said, look, I haven't got a chance of winning the race, but I'm going to go in and at least show people that I can drive one of these things pretty quickly. And if I come out with quickest lap of the race, that will be something.
So Steve Cramp, he's had a good day on the podium first race. He's doing pretty well at the moment. This is the last lap. The interest now is in Jason Bright because we've already said that Webber, of course, Mark Webber has set the fastest lap, but it'll be interesting to see if Jason Bright can knock it off. He'd like to do it, of course. Adam Kaplan, also in the Reynard 91D. The Reynard's very well represented here. And they've had a little bit of a struggle. It's been on about, that's the biggest gap we've seen. Kaplan's been pulling all over the back of him.
It must be a little bit greasy or something, because they're lapping around about 5 odd seconds slower than Stokel's pole time. And even that, there was quite a bit of disparity in the qualifying times. I mean, quickest was 1:49.4, going down to about a 2:11. So, you know, 12 seconds in the field is quite a lot. And I see that down to about 14th place, Glenn Seaton would have qualified 14th for this field.
That was pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
So there we have Jason Bright. We'll see what he's done with those laps at the end of this race. But Mark Webber way out in front in the yellow car. Cramp, Kaplan, Edwards and Abrahams, they are the top runners at the moment. And I think that Bright might be in a bit of a trouble there too. The car seems to be slowing dramatically. This will mean that Cramp will lead the championship. 2 second places, that's 30 points he will have amassed. So a good steady performance from him, nothing spectacular, but he's kept it on the tar and he's kept it up the right into the field.
Yeah, I think he'll probably get a free pair of jeans out of this performance.
Mark Webber, there he is, out in front now. And gee, a lot of people talked about his entry into Formula Ford. I know you have a lot to do with that. I'll get a comment off you when we see him flash across the line here. There's the gap back. It wasn't all that great. I've got a feeling that Mark Webber just backed off and left that safety area for himself. Cramp and Kaplan, they come in second and third. And there Mark Webber takes the acknowledgements of the crowd. He caused a bit of a stir in Formula Ford. He's done well, and now he's starting to establish himself here. Well,
yeah, good, clean, consistent drive, and he's now reaping the reward for it. But it does really put it into perspective a little, it does. I mean, you know, when we get 2 young guys that can come straight out of Formula Ford and qualify second and third quickest in this field, I mean, I don't know. There's a message there for the others, I think.
All right, let's recap now the placings for you in the second of the races for the Formula Holden. Mark Webber, great win. There he is on screen at the moment. Steve Cramp. Arthur Kaplan was next. Then it was Edwards, Abrahams and Taylor. That's how they finished. And they've had a pretty, well, sensational debut here because they've been on and off the track. They've set some fast times and there's been a little bit of action with the Formula Holdens. We'll take a break. We'll come back shortly. A lot more coming your way here from Albert Park.